Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only P-Dog Knight.
Alrighty then. Is that really low? Why is that so? It seems like it's low. What the hell? Anyway. Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty. Excuse me, almost choked up a lung there. Also known as P-Dog Knight on the internet. Welcome back to the P-Dog Knight channel where we, got to get caught up for the weekend. I hope you had a lovely weekend. I did. Lady Boomer and I did a little traveling, just around Minnesota, of course. We went up to a really cool state park up in northern Minnesota called Banning State Park. I can't remember the name of the river it goes through. Knife River? One of those rivers. Anyway, it's really cool. An old, a glacial created river and valley through all this sandstone scenery and stuff. Oh my God, it was just beautiful. And then we came back and drove through Taylor's Falls, which is a cool place anyway. If you're ever in Minnesota, just ask me some cool places to go. We're finding more and more cool places. And then on Saturday we went to, now this may sound really weird or boring or whatever. It was called the Minnesota Transportation Museum. And what it is, it's it's built it's in the old St. Paul Roundhouse, and it's all these old trains, like the trains and train cars, like luxury cars from the early 1900s, and it's basically a train museum. And then we rode on a little caboose out. It takes you out about a mile and back, and it was fun. And we took my mother-in-law. It was her birthday. Mary Lou, it's her birthday, and she's 83 years old, and her father worked on the railroads or worked on trains, so it was very nostalgic for her, and she loved it. Then we went to in St. Paul. They have the old Union Station that was rebuilt in 1915 after the first one burnt down, and this beautiful, ornate, full of marble and stone building, and has a really nice restaurant in it. So it was cool. I was very fascinated. Just this is the third time we've been to a train museum too. We went to one in Golden, Colorado. That's 15 acres of trains, and then we went to one in kind of southern Minnesota, which is just developing. But the one in St. Paul was by far the coolest. You get to go into cars, you get to go up in engines, and they had the coolest model train working around that had all these scenes of different parts of Minnesota that they modeled, and it was just cool. It was fun, and it was a great day. So the weekend, someone always, I always get asked, are you going to have a great weekend? Lord Stanhope. And absolutely did. It was fantastic. So, all right, let's get into the show. Now, I haven't finished opening articles, so I'm having a little problem here. For some reason, I had seemed to be having some bandwidth difficulty, like everything was choppy in the intro. I don't know if that's been fixed now. Am I choppy? I'm just curious. Oh, you think you're a hobo to past life? Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, me too, because it was cool. I enjoyed it. I was surprised how much I enjoyed this museum. It was cool. Also, if you're not following my other channels, my daughter, I told you about this last week, but my daughter, on my birthday back in April, gave me 60 cards. Okay, 60 cards. Holy shit, what's that? And it was one birthday card, and all the rest were dad jokes that she wrote on these cards. And so we started opening them. And I've been posting those on my other channel, Marty Got Jokes. I'll put a link to that into the to the chat today. In fact, I'll post the original one, the very first one, and and you can find the rest yourself. But I'm pretty proud of them. My daughter thinks they're funny, and And I think they're funny. So that'll be in the links today, just for your viewing pleasure. And then I also have another channel called Marty's Big Journey where I post a lot of the stuff where we go travel around the region, Minnesota, or wherever we travel. We take video and then I put little clips of different stuff, cool stuff up there too. So, so I hope you enjoy that stuff. It'll be in the links. Thank you for if you engage, indulge, or whatever. And if you don't, that's cool too. But some of them are pretty funny. So let's get into the show. Let's say hi to everybody and get started. Let's get it started in here. I also am going to be trying to open links while I'm talking to you, so we'll see what happens. First in the chat today is Mr. Avocados Diablo, who gets the bell. Yeah! Also, good morning to Mike Savage, Blard, Mr. Trippy Liberty. What's up, my brother? You're back. Nice to see you again. Ravon Harris is here. Also, Jackals Freudstein. I hope I'm saying that. I hope it's not like you're supposed to say that in a language where you say Jackals Freudstein, or something like that. Good morning, Patty O. Furniture. Attack Alpacas in the house. Also, hello, Lord Stanhope. Johnny Boomer Tech's here doing the running the turntables. You know that's just me, right? I think you've all figured that out by now. Good morning, also Tyler F. There's a dirge of people here. There's only 15 people, but there's 7 likes, so that's a pretty good start. Half of you have already liked the show. So, you know, you're anticipating what's good and what may not be good. So anyway, I would put in more filler time, but I've kind of got a lot to get to. Thank you, by the way, to all the people who have already promoted the show. I see Somnambule Nation, as always, puts a show out before I do. And also a Let Us Goeth. By the way, you saw the link there. Click that link and reply, let's go. Whenever you see that, I'm going to try to get more people to do that. Because then people are like, oh, let's go what? Oh, wow, what is this? Did the Dallas Cowboys get crushed this weekend? I kept hearing that they were looking terrible. I don't know. I'm not going to talk football in here, but that's poetic to me. By the way, today is Columbus Day. And I know, did I miss? Oh, my other favorite Canadian, Unacceptable Views, is here. I thought Johnny was an inept AI that you got for cheap. Well, sort of. That too. Wait a minute. Did a large object fall on the team? I don't know, but they seem to not be doing well. So today's Columbus Day. This is the big day that some people bitch about and some people say, well, we should still celebrate it, you know? So Matt Walsh puts out here, today is Columbus Day, not Indigenous Peoples Day. Columbus is a great man of history who fundamentally reshaped the world we live in. Today, he accomplished 1,000,000 times more in his life than all his modern critics combined. Oh, snap. So you get that kind of response, but then you also get this kind of response. Happy Columbus Day with fuck Christopher Columbus. Someone says they were refugees looking for a better life, bringing diversity and inclusion. Don't be a bigot. Okay, snap. And again, I like reading the Columbus Day post because some people want to call it Indigenous Peoples Day, and I just don't think that we should. I think you still acknowledge that, you know, Columbus was an explorer who found something he wasn't supposed to. Even if it was an accident, they eventually figured out, oh, well, this wasn't India. And it was an important thing, you know. Look, like someone said above there, he brought diversity to the West. Anyway, unpopular opinion, Christopher Columbus is a hero for bringing Western civilization and Christianity to the New World. Some people get mad about that. And I'm like, what's wrong with it? Here's another one. Happy Columbus Day. Fuck all you savages. Oh my God. That's harsh. That's, anyway. Oh, look, here comes the far right as they were making human sacrifices in the New World. So a lot of people are saying happy Columbus Day. Oh, here's another one. Indigenous Peoples Day is Silly Kabuki. We honor Columbus because he discovered the New World, which is the reason the USA, Brazil, Canada, Mexico, etc. exist today. Pretending that any of us feels so guilty about the military defeat of Stone Age warrior tribesmen that we would prefer not to be here and alive is so absurd and stupid as to actually be dishonorable. So there we go. Just a thought. So these, obviously the people that I follow are celebrating Columbus Day. Happy Columbus Day to all except those who want to villainize a brave Italian explorer and hero. Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, you don't, everything after Columbus, you know, I mean, it's history and it's not like we can change it now. You know, we don't have a hot tub time machine or a telephone booth to jump in, or, you know, so we can't do anything about it other than try to make the world the best place we can now. So quit your bitching. If you don't like Columbus Day, to hell with you. Now, good question though from the American Thinker regarding this. Would President Kamala Harris do away with Columbus Day? This is an interesting question. Don't you think? The Incas had the largest land empire in the world at the time, responsible for ending human sacrifice in the Western Hemisphere. Yeah, I'm just saying. Anyway, this is by someone named Harold Witkoff, probably a Russian. I was recently checking out the calendar on my kitchen wall to see what my wife and I had scheduled for the upcoming 3-day weekend. And I noticed that instead of Columbus Day on my calendar, it had Indigenous Peoples Day written at the bottom of the square designated Monday, October 14th. I was quite displeased. Now, did she write? Now, I'm curious. Was it scratched off, or did the calendar come that way? I'd be pissed off if a calendar came that way, because it's Columbus Day, motherfucker. I mean, there's 2 Indigenous Peoples Day too. Do you know that? And funny because they decided, some brain trust decided also to make October Indigenous People History Month or some shit like that. Whatever. And I'm not knocking the Indigenous people. I love me some Indigenous people. My mother-in-law's Indigenous people, right? Lady Boomer's mother. Her natural grandfather is an Indigenous people, like from the Canadian, not Lakota. What is that? Ojibwe, Canadian Ojibwe. That's why her Ancestry.com had her with some Canadian ancestors because of him. Okay, but anyway. I still okay with Columbus Day. So anyway, here it is. Back in my day, everyone celebrated Christopher Columbus and Columbus Day. We celebrated Columbus for his fortitude and bravery. We celebrated him for his adventurous spirit. We celebrated Columbus because he discovered America. Well, he discovered what eventually became America, in fact, because he didn't land in the United States. He landed, where did he land? Somewhere in the West Indies, whatever. But, you know, the Western Hemisphere, the North and South America, like America, not just America. But anyway, and set into motion what would turn out to be the greatest nation in the world. Christopher Columbus was, with his originality in thought and inspiring courage, was quite an appealing character. He made all Americans proud, particularly Italian Americans who shared his heritage. Now, this gentleman is Jewish. He says, as part of my Jewish experience, I learned that King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella ordered all Jews of Spain out of their country by no later than July 31st, 1492. Columbus set sail for the New World on August 3rd of the same year. Even in the darkness of Spain's Jewish expulsion, there was still the flickering light of a better future one day in America. Yes, Christopher Columbus had something for everyone. I remember when Columbus used to be fun. Who could forget in 1492 Columbus sailed the ocean blue? Or the High Silk Hat children's song that ended, Christopher Columbus, now what do you think of that? I don't know that song. Do you know that song? If you know that song, put a yes in the chat. Wow, that even rhymed. In the late 20th century, attacks on Columbus have been unfair, in my opinion. For one thing, the Columbus critics have been using a 20th and 21st century measuring stick on a 15th century man. More importantly, Christopher Columbus never endorsed genocide, and historians are split on whether or not mass murder crimes were even committed under his leadership. The most common criticism of Christopher Columbus is that he was the first Western European explorer in the New World and therefore needs to be vilified because of what followed him. This is too much of a stretch for my comfort. If you want to have Indigenous Peoples Day and your wish is to demonstrate victimhood, then why not make it on December 29th, the date in 1890 that the U.S. Army undisputably massacred Lakota men, women, and children at Wounded Knee Creek? Just don't have an Indigenous People Day on Columbus Day or in place of it. The first city to replace Columbus Day with Indigenous Peoples Day was, you guessed it, Berkeley, California, back in 1962. Since then, the list has been expanding by leaps and bounds. It has already happened in certain states, in schools, and even on many of our wall calendars. Motherfuckers, I hate you. Slowly, I fear our values, our history, and our way of life are all slipping away. This movement to vilify Christopher Columbus reminds me of the attempted toppling of the Christopher Columbus statue in Grant Park by rioters in July of 2020 in my hometown of Chicago. The whole saga seared into my memory, as is actual removal of the statue by order of leftist mayor Lori Lightfoot. And it just didn't happen in Chicago. So, the big question is, would a President Kamala Harris do everything in her power to replace Columbus Day with Indigenous Peoples Day? Okay, as we read this, I'm going to do a poll. Let's do a poll. And would this is almost a moot question, but here we go. Would Kamala Harris replace, if I could type for shit, Columbus Day with Indigenous, probably spelling it wrong. How do you spell indigenous? Indigenous, okay. Oh, I spelled indigenous. N-O-U-S. Peoples. God, what is going on with my fingers? Good Lord, that is just terrible. Okay, there is the poll question. You can answer it. All right. Do you think that would happen? Okay, here we go. Now, on Friday, October 8th, 2021, President Biden was the first American commander-in-chief to mark Indigenous Peoples Day that would coincide with upcoming Columbus Day. Vice President Kamala Harris later that month shared, quote, "Since 1934, every October, the U.S. has recognized the voyage of the European explorers who first landed on the shores of America. But that is not the whole story. We must not shy away from this shameful past." Now, what the fuck is shameful about them exploring the world? That's not shameful. Holy shit. I think so. Good morning. Amazing disgrace. Did I mention that Kamala Harris grew up in Berkeley? Now you do the math. Anyway, yeah, my opinion is she will damn sure try. But again, I don't know what, you have to get the whole thing through Congress. Shit, I don't know. Anyway, that's an interesting article. All right, let's move on. Also happening in the world, Libya is trending. Now, not for the reason you might think, because usually you think some shit's going on in Libya. There's war, there's people killing each other. The Clintons are laughing about someone leader dying or some shit like that, right? Well, that ain't it. Apparently, the country of Libya has retaliated against the country of Nigeria by holding their soccer team hostage for 12 hours. Yes, you heard what I just said. Apparently, so Libya diverted a plane carrying the Nigerian national soccer team on their way to CONCACAF or something like that, the Confederation of African Football Championships. They diverted them to a different airport and then held the national team basically hostage for 15 hours with no food, water, or any accommodations. They diverted them to an airport that is closed 12 hours of a day. And they got there after closing time. This airport isn't open when we land today. And so the Nigerian government and Nigerians are pissed, and everyone, they're all talking about Libya. Like, you motherfucking Libyan motherfuckers, fuckers, fuck. So that's why, that's it. That's the only reason Libya is trending right now. Moving on, Boeing, the airline company and tempter of great space things, is trending. Mostly because of SpaceX, though, because SpaceX did something really super cool, and people are making fun of Boeing. And talking about how this thing that SpaceX did that's really cool is about the weight of a Boeing 747. So Boeing, which is on the brink of bankruptcy, possibly, because of the strike that's going on with their machinist, had to watch this yesterday. Here, let's go full screen with this bad boy. So this is something that SpaceX did, and it's really freaking cool. I'm just saying. I feel like we're watching the Jetsons or something. Here it is. This is it. They landed their booster back onto the launch pad thingy that holds it up when they're waiting for it to go take off. Look at this shit.
We can see those chopsticks now in the air.
They landed it back on the launcher. Are you freaking kidding me? You don't remember this on the Jetsons? Yeah, no. That's insane. They landed a tube, a giant metal tube, vertically back on a launcher. Oh, you remember the robot maids suitcase flying cars, though? Okay, yeah, though true. Okay, this is like real shit. They did. So anyway, so SpaceX is trending too, obviously. They landed, launch and return are fundamental techniques for Starship's fully and rapidly reusable design. This shit's insane. Here it is. The SpaceX Starship team that sent a skyscraper into space and then caught it with giant chopsticks. Meanwhile, Boeing's space program has 50,000 employees and stranded 2 astronauts in space. But at least they received 100% DEI rating at the designation of 2022's best place to work for LGBTQ plus and equality. Yeah, well, there you go. SpaceX is kicking Boeing's ass. Now, there is an article on this in Legal Insurrection. America celebrates SpaceX Starship's successful Mechazilla booster recovery. Meanwhile, CEO Elon Musk intends to sue the California Coastal Commission for rejecting more SpaceX rocket launches by citing Musk's X post. So Musk is having a little fight with the state of California. Here's the story. So America started the Sunday morning this week celebrating the fantastic accomplishment of SpaceX team's 5th Starship test launch as the spacecraft's 232-foot Falcon Super Heavy booster rocket returned to the launch pad and was caught by an enormous pair of mechanical arms nicknamed Mechazilla. The successful test flight, which took off at sunrise at SpaceX's starbase in Boca Chica, Texas, represented an engineering first and provided a glimpse into the future of space travel, starting with a pair of manned NASA missions to the moon in 2026. NASA Administrator Bill Nelson also took to extending his congratulations to the company as we prepare to go back to the moon under Artemis. Continued testing will prepare us for bold missions that lie ahead, he wrote. And so they got some stuff in the launching right there, right? Now, Why is this particular test so important? These boosters are expensive, and prior to this development, a new one would have to be built for every launch. SpaceX's program has just allowed mankind to take a giant leap forward in making space travel a reality. Now, unfortunately for SpaceX, part of its operation involves contending with innovation-killing bureaucrats, this time at the California Coastal Commission. Apparently, they have denied permits to the company because commission members are unhappy with CEO Elon Musk's comments on X, the app formerly known as Twitter. Here it is. SpaceX plans to launch more rockets from the California coast, or their plan to launch more rockets from the California coast, were rejected by a state commission this week, with some officials citing Elon Musk's political posts on X and raising concerns about the billionaire's labor record at his company. This is how bureaucrats destroy innovation. The plan to increase the number of rocket blasts into space up to 50 a year was rejected by the California Coastal Commission on Thursday, despite assurances from Space Force and the Air Force officials that they would increase efforts to monitor the effects that rocket launches have on nearby wildlife. So, by the way, you built this place to launch rockets, and now you're worried that the rockets will be launched. The military also vowed to migrate the reach of sonic booms that often span across 100 miles of coastline, an issue that has caused controversy. Members of the California Coastal Commission commended Space Force and Air Force representatives for reaching an agreement, but some cited their concerns about Musk, the owner of SpaceX, before rejecting the plan. Among the issues raised were Musk's decision to insert himself in the presidential race, his spreading of conspiracy theories, and the labor record of his companies and derogatory comments he has made about the transgender community. Well, there you go. We wouldn't want any of this technology and science shit that we're always yapping about interfere with our little political hissy fits, now would we? Quote, "We are dealing with a company, the head of which has aggressively injected himself into the presidential race," Commission Chair Carl Hart said. So Musk says he intends to sue over the matter. "Incredibly inappropriate. What I post on this platform has nothing to do with a coastal commission in California, filing suit against them Monday for violating the First Amendment." Oh, snap! So anyway, there's another article on this in Behind the Black. California officials, SpaceX shouldn't be allowed to launch from Vandenberg because we hate Elon Musk. Basically, that's the truth. So there's another story on that. Moving on. What else we got here today? Oh, feds are trending. Now, can anyone guess why the word feds are trending? Oh, you don't have to guess. I'm going to tell you. Because apparently these patriot, what are these motherfuckers called? The Patriot Front. These assholes were marching somewhere. And so anytime you see these assholes, it's generally because, what the hell's going on here? What the hell? Oh, that was my wife. These dickheads who show up in weird places are marching again. Where was this one? Let's find out where this was. And then this person says, just in case some of you are confused, this is not MAGA. MAGA does not cover their faces. That is true. That is true. So anyway, someone here says, Democratic activist Zoom call with Obama. We're losing the black vote. We're losing the Latino vote. Not even the Jews like us. What should we do? Obama, roll out the white supremacy feds. So I have no idea who these assholes are. And neither do most MAGA people. Never heard of it. They just started popping up. And why are they wearing masks? What is their purpose? Do you know any Trump supporters who cover their faces and wear Dockers? Hey, wait a minute. I used to own a pair of Dockers. I haven't worn Dockers in years. I fact, I rarely wear pants. Did I say that out loud? Yes, I did, didn't I? Yeah, I usually wear shorts. Hello, Selecta Boy.
Yeah, boy.
What's up? How you doing? So anyway, yeah, these dickheads, I don't know where these dickheads came from. Nobody knows. They just show up in places, usually via U-Haul, and nobody knows. All right, moving on. Taiwan is trending because China is rattling swords again. Videos of China's large-scale military exercises around Taiwan called Joint Sword 2024B. Taiwan has been put on high alert. Chinese warship formations, destroyers, and aircrafts were approaching Taiwan in close proximity from different directions. The mouse and the dragon. So, you know how they do these kind of sword-rattling war exercises around Taiwan? Well, they're doing it again. A total of 125 Chinese jets, 17 Chinese Navy ships, and 17 Chinese Coast Guard vessels took part in a Joint Sword 2024, the Chinese military exercise that completely surrounded Taiwan this morning. So, yeah, this is not good. Oh, another thing, though, too. This happened in Taiwan, too. Here it is. Just watch this. You just watch. Here it is.
We can see those chopsticks now.
Hang on. Oh, wait. Where's that noise coming from? Turn that off. Hang on. Let me shut that off. Back to where I was. Here. Okay, wait a minute. Now you missed it. Oh, shit. So this is a container ship. And apparently the container ship didn't quite hit the giant automated container ship removal device correctly. And here's what happens when you don't quite hit the giant container ship removal device correctly. Oh, no. No. Oh, no. Yeah, that's not supposed to happen. Yeah, the chopsticks. Yeah, the chopsticks comment kind of came in there in an apropos moment, didn't it? So anyway, yeah. And look at how it dragged the ship. The ship's about to go hit the dock too. It pulled it over so hard. That's not good. So anyway, that's why another reason Taiwan is trending. But yeah, if you want to see, this is like, so they're doing these military exercises. Let's turn that music off. China's doing these military exercises around Taiwan like this. You think they might be a little concerned in Taiwan over this nonsense? Good Lord. All right, moving on. What else is trending? Oh, Rutherford County is trending. Now, this story came out, was it yesterday? So, Rutherford County is one of the counties that was destroyed, basically many parts of Hurricane Helene, by Hurricane Helene, right? And there's a relief effort going on in there. And yesterday, was this yesterday? So the National Guard, now this says the National Guard report of armed militias out hunting FEMA prompts the relocation of North Carolina hurricane recovery officials. My bullshit meter is just going off the handle right now. And this is based, I think it's based on a Washington Post report. I see a Washington Post article. Bill Crystal posted this, by the way, too. Here it is. Bill Crystal, Federal Emergency Response personnel on Saturday had employees operating in a hard-hit Rutherford County, North Carolina, stop working and move to a different area because of concerns over, quote, armed militia, end quote, threatening government workers in the region. Why would they do that? And then he posts this Washington Post article, which I haven't even opened yet. Here's the Washington Post article. Now, maybe I can skim this for a second too. But I'm pretty sure it's locked, so let me unlock it or get the archive version. Here we go. Hurricane recovery officials in North Carolina relocated amid a report of armed militia, according to an email. An email shows. Federal Emergency Management Response personnel on Saturday had employees operating in hard-hit Rutherford County, North Carolina, stop working and move to a different area because of concerns over armed militia threatening government workers in the region, according to an email sent to federal agencies helping with response in the state. Now, notice, this is not confirming the report. All it's saying that there was some email saying this. So I haven't yet heard any confirmation or anything of this. This is just the story that got posted in the Washington Post and is hitting the internet by storm because they want to blame this on Trump and JD Vance. I'm just telling you, that's the bigger picture. By the way, good morning, Maddie, my favorite Canadian Yankee pony, and Aaron Meredith are all here. Welcome, guys. Nice to see you. Around 1 p.m. Saturday, an official with the U.S. Forest Service, which is supporting recovery efforts after Hurricane Helene, along with the Federal Emergency Management Agency, aka FEMA, sent an urgent message to numerous federal agencies warning that, quote, FEMA has advised all federal responders, Rutherford County, North Carolina, to stand down and evacuate the county immediately. The message stated that the National Guard troops had come across some X2 trucks of armed militia saying they were out hunting FEMA. Now, I'm just stopping right there. A mob of angry people is a militia. I don't even think that. When they say hunting FEMA, maybe they're looking for FEMA people to come fucking help instead of just whatever the hell else to do. Oh, Pissed Off Shih Tzu's here. What's up? Nice to see you. I just noticed that too. Okay. The IMTs, incident management teams, have been notified and are coordinating the evacuation of all assigned personnel in that county, the email added. Now, again, this is all from an email. Two federal officials confirmed the authenticity of the email, though it was unclear whether the quoted threat was seen as credible. Then why are you fucking posting this and why are they evacuating? The National Guard referred questions to FEMA when asked about the incident. So the National Guard, who supposedly are the ones who alerted FEMA, aren't answering questions about it. They referred you to FEMA. One Forest Service official coordinating the Helene recoveries said responders moved to a safe area and at least some work in that area, which included clearing trees of dozens of damaged and blocked roads, helped search and rescue crews, as well as group delivering supplies, was paused. By Sunday afternoon, personnel were back in place, said the official who spoke on the condition of anonymity. So, they were evacuated and moved back. Why was this email sent? Is this some Operation Mockingbird shit? Why was that email sent just so they can make a story of it? Who sent the email? Didn't say. Notice it didn't say who sent this. This is according to an email sent to federal agencies. Who sent the email? They don't say. The setback. Now listen, this is the Washington Post, so expect there to be some kind of tie into something, right? Here we go. The setback is one of the latest examples of growing concerns about safety and security in western North Carolina, where many towns were almost wiped off the map after the historic hurricane made landfall 2 weeks ago. In the weeks since, misinformation and rumors have made recovery more difficult. Oh my. Who are they going to blame for misinformation? They've been blaming Donald Trump for this. Federal officials such as the Secretary for the Department of Homeland Security and FEMA's Director of Public Affairs have been the target of anti-Semitic attack. Anti-Semitic attack? What? From who? And they have a narrative and they're sticking to it. Chimney Rock in Rutherford County has become one of the centers of tension and conflict after a rumor spread on social media that government officials plan to seize the decimated village and bulldoze bodies under the rubble. Authorities and news outlets debunked the assertion, but people still took to social media imploring militias to go after FEMA. One person familiar with FEMA operations who spoke on the condition of anonymity said the agency was working out of an ambulance out of an ambulance. That's a weird faux pas. They were working out of an abundance of caution, and its teams were operating at fixed locations and secure areas instead of the usual practice of going door to door. So it's amazing because remember, one of the criticisms of FEMA is they're not out there doing what they normally do. Oh, well, now they have an excuse. I'm waiting for, I'm going to skim this. I want to see if they mention, okay, they don't mention Donald Trump in this article, but if you go through this thread of, this crap here, hey, Bill Kristol, deeply disturbing. Put what you read in the article with this. Here is the sheriff of Rutherford County, North Carolina, just a few days ago, along with another sheriff, espousing hate for the federal government, while a right-wing journalist eggs them on. We have a problem. Oh, so he's complaining about this. Let's see what this sheriff says, because I think we might have watched this before, but we're going to watch it again now, just to see what right-wing hate sounds like. Maybe the sheriff's just pissed because of nobody out there.
I was going to say something about Biden and Harris.
Yes, what were you going to say? Oh.
But I don't like to curse. I'm scared there'll be little ears listening.
Well, and you've been up here. For how long?
Just 2 days.
2 days?
Hadn't left, and he's doing
This is
fantastic
spreading
job.
hate.
That's
for the
right.
government.
I mean, Sheriff, you've been amazing. Thank you so much for all you do. I'm going to definitely get this up on social media, and we're going live tonight with Sean Hannity. But if you had a message for the White House and how they've handled the situation up here in North Carolina, what would your message be, Sheriff Wright?
If you're going to do the things you've been talking about doing, we just send you stay out of the way and let the good men and women around the mountain area and the foothills take care of our own, because you're nothing more than a boat anchor.
No help. FEMA hasn't been helpful.
Wait
at
a
all.
minute. That lady that's running for president talks about the $750. Huh. What about all that money you give to Ukraine and all these other people?
Okay, this is where he's talking politics stuff now. But the point of this video was they weren't quite getting the help that they felt like they needed. But do you think, honestly, they'd let people go out and hunt FEMA people? It's nonsense. So anyway, but every lefty account is all over this. Rex Chapman, the former Kentucky basketball player, he played a few years in the NBA too. He's very political. Federal Emergency Management Response personnel on Saturday had employees operating in hard-hit Rutherford County, North Carolina, stop working and move to a different area because of concerns over armed militia threatening government workers in the region. Now notice, they all went back to their locations within 24 hours, right? So they because we read it in the Washington Post. Did you notice they didn't say because maybe the concerns were false or overblown or misinformation? Wait a minute. Misinformation. Because they said everyone's back in place by the next day, right? So apparently it was false flag, maybe? False information, misinformation, disinformation, malinformation, all that shit. Okay, so it's so funny, but everyone's talking about this, man. Everyone, especially yesterday. Oh man, you had to stop doing what they're doing because armed militias. And yet the article clearly states they were back in place. Well, how long was it? Wait a minute. By Sunday afternoon. So they paused on Saturday. They were all back in place by Sunday afternoon. Could it be the threat was a false flag? Could it be it was a lie? Or could it be that maybe the National Guard went in there and defeated the militias and killed them all? And just, or the militias gave up looking for them because they couldn't find any FEMA people. Oh, well, no FEMA people here. We're going to go up to Johnson County instead and find us some FEMA people to hunt down there because we can't find none over here in Rutherford County. They all seem to be disappeared. Or it just was bullshit in the first place. That seems like the more likely scenario. All right, let's move on. Also trending. Well, it's not kind of trending. It was trending over the weekend, but it wasn't trending now. Oh, by the way, let me do a real quick thingy here. Catch up on my notifications. Thank you. Oh, Skeptalk was replying to something else. Thank you, Maddie. Thank you, Zed, the Snarky. And thank you, Somnambul Nation, for retweeting my tweet of the show. Appreciate it. The proper reply is, let's go. Can I get a hit? Let's go on that post. All right, let's go. All right, back to what I was doing. Apparently there was another possible attempt on the president at this Coachella Rally in California. I thought for sure that they banned some weapons in California or some shit. Anyway, Trump had his Coachella Rally. It was pretty big. In fact, it was a little bigger than they were expecting, and lots of people got stranded there for a while because the bus companies, I guess, stopped running their shuttles back and forth to the parking area, which is like 5 miles away. You can't go up to Coachella. I guess you can't park at Coachella's. They have parking, or they have. It's kind of like at Red Rocks too. You kind of have to park kind of far away and walk a while to get to the amphitheater. Well, apparently in Coachella, they have buses, they have parking areas that are 5 miles away. And, but then the police people around there, the sheriffs or whatever, they wouldn't let people in, but they wouldn't let them leave. So someone here says, once we arrived at the rally, people were not allowed to get out or go in. And there were not enough buses for the number of people because maybe they didn't expect that many. Maybe they were overwhelmed how many people decided to go. So it was extremely high. Lines are very long, and we finally made it to experience a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for Californians at today's Trump 2024 MAGA rally at Coachella. It was awesome. Trump really is a cool, down-to-earth president. He absolutely loves the people. Someone here says how the real Donald Trump Coachella rally started and how the Coachella ended. This is Criminal, says the attendee. Coachella rally attendees were still stranded at midnight and were told no more buses were coming. The temperature was 100 degrees during the day as MAGA started falling out at the rally. So a lot of people want to give you the negative parts. Wesley Hunt says, Wesley Johnson, massive update. The bus driver just shared with us that all of the fuel stations for buses, not cars, were completely depleted around the event, and they all had to drive 30 minutes away to get refueled. A few of the buses were stranded out on the roads right now, no gas. Also, there were apparently 60 buses employed for this event, and the fuel reserves were completely depleted or never refilled before the event. This has to be looked into. So this sounds like they tried to sabotage the rally. That's what it sounds like to me. That somebody in California decided to sabotage the rally. Now, other things that were happening too is apparently some rally goers had their cars vandalized. See, this is the peaceful people, the ones who are afraid of political violence. Well, someone here named Amy Reichert says, last night, after the California Coachella Trump rally, I expected to find my car vandalized. Thankfully, this isn't mine, but violent, hateful, racist leftists destroyed hundreds of cars belonging to Trump supporters. The real violence and hate are coming from Kamala supporters. Apparently someone we prayed at they were praying at the rally. There's a whole bunch about the rally. You can look at the links, but there was also another apparent assassination attempt, or at least a planned one. So here is something about that. Breaking, just announced, third Trump assassination attempt. Armed man with a loaded gun outside the President Trump Coachella, California rally. Arrested, identified as Vern Miller, according to the sheriff. Enough, protect Trump at all costs. So this is the press release. Can't see it because it's not on the full screen. Let's try that. From the Riverside County Sheriff. On Saturday, October 12, 2024 at 4:59 p.m., deputies assigned to former President Donald Trump's rally in the Coachella Valley contacted the driver of a black SUV at a checkpoint at the intersection of Avenue 52 and Celebration Drive. The male driver, identified as Vern Miller, a 49-year-old resident of Las Vegas, was found to be illegally in possession of a shotgun, a loaded handgun, and a high-capacity magazine. Miller was taken into custody without incident and later booked at the John J. Benoit Detention Center for possession of a loaded firearm and possession of a high-capacity magazine. This incident did not impact the safety of former President Trump or the attendees of the event. Now, let me recalibrate a little bit here. I don't know if it's necessarily a assassination attempt, or is this just somebody from Vegas who doesn't understand California gun laws and has some shit in his car? I don't know for a fact, but they did arrest him in California for that. Let's see what this guy has to say.
So one thing I don't get is that everything at this convention, at the Republican National Convention,
Wait, what is this?
Is cashless. This whole place is cashless. So
Oh, is this him?
I don't know. See, that's the Republican National Convention behind me.
Okay, I don't know why he's. Oh, this is him, Vern Miller, partner, co-founder of the American Happens Network. So that's the same guy, I guess. And third Trump assassination attempt thwarted when armed man arrested outside Coachella rally, says sheriff says. So wait a minute. So now we don't know for sure. At least I don't, because I haven't been paying attention to this. But here's an article from someone called Chief Nerd who says, Sheriff Chad Bianco slams reporter trying to downplay Trump's third assassination attempt. So here is what the sheriff is saying about the rally. Hang on.
So this is what I'm glad of. This is what
yes,
I'm
it's
very
only on the
glad
left
of. I know
side if you have headphones.
The presence that we had at the rally with deputies, with snipers, with counter snipers, and Secret Service snipers and counter snipers, I am glad that we're not talking about this after we shot him. We get to talk about it before, and no matter what, it's all going to be speculation about what his intentions were getting there.
That's what I'm saying.
What we do know,
we don't know for sure.
Is he showed up with multiple passports.
Multiple passports?
Different names.
What?
An unregistered vehicle with fake
unregistered vehicle with fake license
and
plate.
loaded firearms.
Oh, I didn't hear that part before.
If you're asking me right now, I probably did have deputies that prevented the third assassination attempt.
Okay, so it wasn't an attempt, but we'll find out eventually.
Politically lost, that we have lost sight of common sense and reality and reason.
Oh.
That we can't say that, holy crap, what did he show up with all of that stuff for and loaded guns? And I'm going to be accused of being dramatic. We have a serious, serious problem in this country because this is common sense and reason. I saw some of you there yesterday. You didn't have guns and fake IDs. I don't know how else to explain it.
Okay, kudos to this sheriff for that. Let's see. The FBI came to the suspect's defense almost immediately. As a result, he was able to get released on $5,000 bond with a hearing next year. The FBI made it clear that the suspect did not intend to kill Trump. That's what somebody else. And then someone's here, what's odd is the man's out on bail already. Something's very wrong with the scenario. Was this man set up by a government entity? That man in Florida that was outside the golf course is still in jail with no bail. I'm curious.
This is what I'm glad of.
I'm not confident that this was an attempt, but the idea that he has no passports, he has an unregistered vehicle with fake license, that's concerning. So something isn't adding up with this whole third assassination attempt thing. This is Vern Miller. The guy was at the RNC hanging with many prominent figures, including Don Jr., It's probably undisputed that he had illegal weapons, but why would he bring fake press passes knowing very well that the Secret Service and local PD would check his credentials? Very confused. So that's still up in the air. We don't know what's going on with that. At least I don't. I'm not going to make any definitive conclusions. However, here's what the New York Post says about it. Vern Miller, armed man arrested near Trump Coachella Rally, denies wanting to hurt ex-president. Complete bullshit. Okay. The armed suspect who was arrested on weapons charges on his way to Donald Trump's California rally denied the local sheriff's assertion he wanted to kill the ex-president, calling the accusation of Saturday bullshit. Vern Miller, 49, reportedly claimed he's a Trump supporter a day after he was cuffed Saturday afternoon near the Coachella Valley rally at a checkpoint where sheriff deputies found a pair of guns and ammunition in his car. While Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco said he truly believes his deputies stopped a third assassination attempt against the Republican president's nominee, Miller told the Southern California News Group on Sunday he was shocked by the allegations. These allegations are complete bullshit, Miller told the news outlet. I'm an artist. I'm the last person that would cause any violence and harm nobody or anybody. He did say it correctly. Miller, whose sources alleged to the Post, is part of a far-right anti-government group, said he was invited to the rally by the head of the Clark County GOP and was wearing a Trump shirt and hat when he ran into authorities at the checkpoint. The weapons, a shotgun, a loaded handgun, were bought in 2022 for personal protection, Miller told the local outlet. He said he told local deputies he was carrying the firearms in his trunk as a courtesy before he was pulled over and forced to leave the car. The car was then ransacked after a deputy informed him he wanted to make sure the guns were legal purchases. Miller, a registered Republican who ran unsuccessfully for office in Nevada in 2022, also denied he flashed a fake press pass at the checkpoint, as the sheriff alleged, but instead offered a special entry pass, the outlet reported. The Las Vegas resident told the publication he was not informed why he was taken into custody, and only after he was detained for hours was he allowed to call a lawyer. That's messed up. So couldn't talk to his lawyer. You know what? As soon as I read it, I was like, well, what's going on here? He said he then recalled the incident while in front of FBI and Secret Service agents who reportedly wanted to interview him. Oh, I see. Okay. Deputies later told Miller, who runs an organization that rails against the mainstream media, that the sit-down with feds was scrapped, he claimed. Miller was hit with weapons charges for illegally possessing firearms and released on $5,000 bail. In his interview with the local publication, he said he wasn't aware of the difference between gun laws in California and his home state of Nevada. That's what I said from the beginning. Probably just some guy who didn't know the gun laws. He could face additional charges from federal law enforcement, but the Secret Service thinks it's unlikely Miller was trying to assassinate the 45th president, and the FBI is not probing the matter as an attempt, sources told the Post. The Secret Service said Trump wasn't at risk during the rally. So, I don't know. That's why I'm like, why were people talking about this assassination attempt? Now, there is, though, this story, too. Iran plot against Trump. Far more dire than previously known. Okay. U.S. officials have warned more than half a dozen former national security officials from the Trump administration that Iran's assassination threats against him are serious and will likely never go away as long as the Islamic regime is in place. The threats, including the ones against former President Donald Trump, stem from the administration's authorizing the drone strike that killed Qasem Soleimani in January 2020. Soleimani, the commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Quds Force, was the powerful general in Iran. He was viewed as the second most powerful figure in the country behind Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, and was viewed by Khamenei like a son. So I guess they want him to take it serious. One of the problems here too is, Trump's gets Secret Service protection, but apparently he's also being forced to provide some of his own, like the reinforced Secret Service people are not being provided. So, for example, a new report from Politico revealed that the plots against the officials are even more extensive and aggressive than previously reported, according to interviews with dozens of officials about the threats. Now, this is extraordinarily serious, said Matt Olson, the Justice Department's Assistant Attorney General for National Security. Iran has made it very clear that they are determined to seek retaliation against former officials in connection with the Soleimani strike. The threat against Trump's life is so serious that he has not played golf, his favorite pastime, in a month. Okay, wait a minute. I thought he tried to go after the second assassination attempt. I thought that was when he was playing golf, but maybe he hasn't played since then. And will not do so until after the election because federal officials are not able to secure courses to the extent needed to guarantee his safety. Trump's motorcade is now being broken up at random times as precaution, and he has started traveling on nondescript planes that do not have his name on the side instead of the longtime 757 jet. Trump is now requesting military assets to guard and transport him. The Biden-Harris administration is facing significant pressure to provide security details to all who have received threats, and some have been forced to spend exorbitant amounts of their own money to defend themselves and their families. Former senior Trump administration. A former senior Trump administration, they left out the word official, said that the threats they are facing are historic, as the U.S. has never had former senior national security officials, including cabinet members, face serious threats on their life from a foreign adversary. Where the hell did that come from? Shut up! I didn't play that. Good Lord. So, anyway, that's fascinating. That's fascinating. All right, am I at the main topic yet? Yes, I am. Let's get to the main topic today. Mr. JD Vance, this guy right here. I got a feeling they're going to stop inviting him on the media because he seems to have a knack for cutting through the media bullshit. And this weekend, there was an amazing example. And I'm going to skip the trending topic and just go straight to this story from the Daily Wire. JD Vance wrecks ABC News host Martha Raddatz with the words, "Do you hear yourself?" Now, let's just play it. When I saw this morning, because I listen to things while I work, because I'm just scanning packages all morning. And this is an incredible moment in media history, because Martha Raddatz is basically asking JD Vance about Donald Trump talking about Aurora, Colorado. Oh, and the Aurora mayor says he didn't take, the gangs didn't take over Aurora, whatever. So Donald Trump, talking about it, talks in large picture generalities. Listen to this. I don't even know which account this is on. Let's watch it on X. Here's the exchange on ABC's This Week. JD Vance and Martha Raddatz.
Limited to a handful of apartment complexes, and the mayor said our dedicated police officers have acted on those concerns. A handful of problems.
No. A handful of apartment complexes. But anyway, listen. Now listen how JD responds to this, because they're talking about how the gangs took over some apartment complexes in Aurora, Colorado. And I guess Donald Trump said something about how the gangs are taking over Aurora, blah, blah, blah. And the mayor said, no, they're not taking Aurora. They took over a handful of complexes. And so Martha Raddatz is pressing JD Vance on him talking about it.
Only, Martha, do you hear yourself? Only a handful of apartment complexes in America were taken over by Venezuelan gangs, and Donald Trump is the problem and not Kamala Harris's open border? Americans are so fed up with what's going on, and they have every right to be. And I really find this exchange, Martha, sort of interesting, because you seem to be more focused with nitpicking everything that Donald Trump has said rather than acknowledging that apartment complexes in the United States of America are being taken over by violent gangs. I worry so much more.
Why is there one apartment complex in the United States of America being taken over by Venezuelan gangs? Why is there even one? And that's like, well, it was only a few apartment complexes. Why are there any? She's like, I mean, granted, she's saying, oh, Donald Trump is endangering the lives of people because he's bringing this to your attention. Not the people taking over apartment complexes.
More about that
Holy
problem
shit.
than anything else here. We've got to get American communities in a safe space again. And unfortunately, when you let people in by the millions, most of whom are unvetted, most of whom you don't know who they really are, you're going to have problems like this. Kamala Harris, 94 executive orders that undid Donald Trump's successful border policies.
Now, granted, yes, it was Joe Biden, but it's the Biden-Harris administration. Remind people, she is the Harris in Biden-Harris.
We knew this stuff would happen. They bragged about opening the border, and now we have the consequences, and we're living with it. We can do so much better, but frankly, we're not going to do better, Martha, unless Donald Trump calls this stuff out. I'm glad that he did.
Okay, they cut it off there. Hang on. I need the long version, because listening to her, I don't want to do the Trump War Room one. That's what I just did. This is the same one. This dude always copies and pastes somebody. Here's a little bit longer one. Here's a little bit longer version, because I want you to listen to her.
Understand what you're saying, that some people left behind, but he's making these statements that the mayor is flat out disputing.
Well, Martha, you just said the mayor said they were exaggerated.
Grossly exaggerated.
That means there's got to be some element of truth here. And of course, President Trump was actually in Aurora, Colorado, talking to people on the ground. And what we're hearing, of course, Martha, is that people are terrified by what has happened with some of these Venezuelan gangs.
Senator Vance, I'm going to stop you because I know exactly what happened.
Martha.
I'm going to stop.
Now, she doesn't want to hear that. She will not let him say that. That there are people in Aurora who are terrified by these people, by the gangs taking over certain areas. But she don't want to hear it.
The incidents were limited to a handful of apartment complexes, and the mayor said our dedicated police officers have acted on those concerns. A handful of problems.
Only, Martha, do you hear yourself? Only a handful of apartment complexes in America were taken over by Venezuelan gangs, and Donald Trump is the problem and not Kamala Harris's open border?
So, and let me see if I catch the end of this, because you've heard that part already. Here's what she does. Listen to what she does at the end.
Just end that with they did not invade or take over the city.
Hang on. Here we go. Now play. Play!
You really are. You're going to have problems like this. Kamala Harris, 94 executive
Listen to what she does after this,
Donald
too.
Trump's successful border policies. We knew this stuff would happen. They bragged about opening the border, and now we have the consequences, and we're living with it. We can do so much better, but frankly, we're not going to do better, Martha, unless Donald Trump calls this stuff out. I'm glad that he did.
Okay, let's just end that with they did not invade or take over the city, as Donald Trump said.
Yeah, right. Okay. Okay, that makes it better, because Donald Trump exaggerated it. There's no problem. There's no problem. It's all cool. No problem whatsoever. Wow. Oh, he never said that either. He never said that they invaded the city. When I looked up redundant in the dictionary, it said see redundant. Yeah. So anyway, that's the crazy thing that she said there, in my opinion. And but I also want to show you, there's another, let's see, where's the JD Vance one? Hang on a second. There's another place. Oh, this is another one that I wanted to bring up, because I think the media hasn't learned anything from watching any JD Vance interviews, because he's I didn't know anything about JD Vance really as a senator, other than he was kind of young to be a senator, and I knew about I knew real basic stuff about him, but I didn't know how he would be in certain situations, because they always try to make him look like he's unsophisticated, and he just doesn't talk well, and he's weird, and blah blah blah. Well, here's another incident where JD Vance held his own. This is a Times reporter And someone here says, what JD Vance does to this Times reporter is illegal in some states. A masterclass in deconstructing a false premise. And this is something he's pretty good at. Way better than Trump, I got to tell you. Trump's not that, Trump will just make fun of you or insult you or something. But JD Vance is pretty skilled at deconstructing false premises. Here's an example. I think it's a New York Times reporter he's being interviewed by.
The reason that there is a housing crisis is that not enough houses have been built.
And that we have 25 million people who shouldn't be here.
Well, I mean, this is the thing.
I think it's both.
I know you do. I don't think that many people who look into this agree with you, but about a third of the construction work.
What? You don't think an extra 25 million people make the housing crisis worse? Good. I think especially at least hotels in New York City. You can't get a hotel room in New York City because they're housing all the illegal migrants there. The illegal border crossing migrants. The ones who cross the border illegally, not just migrants, but the ones who cross into a country illegally. If you don't want to call them illegals, at least acknowledge they came into the country illegally. I'm just saying, acknowledge that. Biatch.
Force in this country is Hispanic. Of those, a large portion
This
are
isn't about
documented.
Hispanic. It's not just Hispanic. Biatch. There are some Europeans crossing our border illegally. There's some Chinese crossing our border illegally. There's some Africans, the whole continent, from different parts of the continent, not all of Africa, obviously. Africa's a big place. Crossing our border illegally through Mexico. And they didn't walk here. They got a travel agent, sent them to Mexico, and then they got to the border. It's America Border Crossing Travel Agency. Bringing people from all over the friggin' world. I think the last count was from some 150 countries. They've been finding people crossing our border illegally. How'd they get here? That's not how asylum works. That's not how the United Nations says, well, this is the treaty on asylum in the world treaty that you have to walk across the border. And the first border you cross, you should be able to, that you can claim asylum in is where you claim it. No, we're getting people from freaking Suriname cross our border saying asylum. That's the only English word they got to know. This drives me fucking insane.
So how do you propose to build all the housing necessary that we need in this country by removing all the people who are working in construction?
Well, I think it's a.
Now, wait a minute. Oh my God. Is that where all these people who cross the border illegally are working? Like, for example, I told you there was some digging going on in my neighborhood because they're putting fiber optic all through my neighborhood. AT&T's digging up holes in everyone's yards, pissing everybody off. And the entire crew, at least this particular crew in our neighborhood, they're all from Ecuador. Now, what I do know also is all these people from Ecuador are here legally. At least in this crew, they're all here legally, as far as I know. And I don't care. They're not going to deport them. They're not going to deport the people who are here legally. So what is she talking about? Are all the other construction crews around the country that have lots of foreigners from various states, aka countries, are she saying they're all here legally? Because a lot of them are. I know they are, but still. P-Dog out there checking papers. I wasn't checking papers. I just know. I talked to the supervisor. Like, yeah, they're all here legally. The supervisor was the only one who spoke English. Anyway, and she was an American. But she's saying, oh, how are you going to build housing if you deport all the people who are working in construction crews? I don't know. Maybe you might want to hire some Americans, natural born Americans, or people who are here legally. Even they're legal immigrants. I'm fine with that. She seems to be making up some points here. Here, let's go back a little bit.
Removing all the people who are working in construction.
All the
It's
people.
a fair question because we know that back in the 1960s when we had very low levels of illegal immigration, Americans didn't buy houses, didn't build houses. but of course they did. And I'm being sarcastic.
See what he did there? I wish there would have been an audience for that one. That was quick.
Of course, in service of a
Yeah, nobody built houses or bought houses in the 60s before we had the big, massive illegal immigration problem. No one had a house. Everyone was living on the street or in tents, or they just strung some clothes together over a couple clotheslines and stood under that. That's where they slept, because there were no houses built before 1960. There were no houses built in the 70s. You know, when I was a kid, by the way, like when my parents built their house in 1969, let's start with that one. And we would go out to the construction site where my parents lived. My parents lived there over 50 years. And when they were building my parents' house and we go out and visit the construction site, almost everyone working on the house was a brother. Like especially the roofing crew was all black guys. And there were people, you know, framers and whatever. There was a kind of a mixed race crew, whatever. But it was all black people and white people, and you know, there wasn't a Mexican among them that I can remember. And I was only 4 years old, but I remember it was just interesting because I was like, oh, these people look like all the people in the neighborhood I live in right now. A bunch of black guys, especially the roof. I remember we went out there when they were putting the roof on, and all the roofers were brothers. And I was laughing about that recently because we had some hail damage on our roof about 4 or 5 years ago. And we had the roofing company came out here. And none of the roofing crew spoke English. They did a great job on a roof, but not a single one. They were speaking Spanish the whole time. A couple of them understood English and could talk a little bit with us. So I brought them some... my wife brought him a bunch of bottled waters. But the difference from when my parents' house was built, when it was all black people doing the roofing, and then I come back to, 2000, whatever it was, 20, I think it was 2020 that happened, and there's all Mexican dudes. They're all of them. And I was like, you're saying, so now roofing is a job Americans won't do? Now, I know, like, for example, my brother-in-law works in construction, and, you know, there's still white guys who do that shit. So who would build all these houses if it weren't for the illegal immigrants? Well, other Americans and other legal immigrants would do it.
Lulu, the assumption that because a large number of home builders now are using undocumented labor, that's the only way to build homes, I think, again,
the country is much bigger.
Fundamental.
The need is much bigger.
So
what? I'm not arguing in favor of
we have
illegal
330
immigration.
million
I'm asking
people.
How you would deal with the knock-on effect of your proposal to remove millions of people who work in a critical part of the economy?
Well, I think that what you would do is you would take, let's say, for example, the 7 million prime-age men who have dropped out of the labor force. And you have a smaller number of women, but still millions of women prime-age who have dropped out of the labor force. You absolutely could re-engage folks into the American labor market. This is, I think,
to work in construction.
Of course, you
Why
could.
not?
I mean,
As long as you
the
put-
unemployment rate
Why
is
not?
51%. Most
the
people who
unemployment rate, Lulu, this is important.
But
The
most people who
unemployment-
don't work can't work.
She didn't
want to
hear the
economy.
answer.
They're in the military. They're parents. They're sick. They're old. They might not want to work in construction.
The unemployment rate does not count labor force participation dropouts. And again, this is one of the really deranged things that I think illegal immigration
That they started changing how they count them during the Obama administration.
Saying we can only build houses with illegal immigrants when we have 7 million, just men, not even women, just men who have completely dropped out of the labor force. People say, well, Americans won't do those jobs. Americans
Bullshit.
won't do
If you
those
want to eat,
jobs
you'll do the damn
for
job.
below the table wages. They won't do those jobs for non-living wages. But people will do those jobs. They will just do those jobs at certain wages. And think about this from the perspective of an American company, okay? I want them to go searching in their own country for their own citizens. Sometimes people who may be struggling with addiction or trauma, get them re-engaged in American society. We cannot have an entire American business community that is giving up on American workers and then importing millions of illegal laborers. That is what we have thanks to Kamala Harris's border policies. I think it's one of the biggest drivers of inequality. It's one of the biggest reasons why we have millions of people who have dropped out of the labor force. Why try to re-engage an American citizen in a good job if you can just import somebody from Central America who's going to work under the table for poverty wages? It is a disgrace, and it has led to the evisceration of the American middle class.
Ding. So there you go. He's pretty good at this. Every time I see him in one of these interviews, and they all go like this, they try to, push some bullshit, and he just slowly takes them apart with facts and doesn't allow them to say bullshit. That's what I'm saying. So anyway, kudos to JD Vance for that. The only other things I have some articles open. Here, let's just go through headlines because I got to get out of here. This is a Human Events. VP Harris's legacy is convicted murderers and sex offenders roaming the United States streets. Not only when she was the AG of California, but also the fact that they catch and release all the 13,100 homicide convicts or convicted of homicide, 62,200 basically of assault, 15,800 sexual assault, 14,300 burglary. These are the number of people convicted criminals released in the United States after crossing our border illegally. They confirmed that those many people were convicted of those crimes and still let them in and still process them just like any other, mothers with small children and families. We're separating children from their families. Bitch, you let about 500,000 criminals across the border. 13,000 plus murderers. 62,000 plus convicted of assault. 15,800 of sexual assault. 14,000 of burglary. Let them all in. Just said, you know the word asylum, we're letting you in. Just let them go. Don't know where they are. In the National Pulse, massive surge in Chinese immigrant encounters in border. So, yeah, we're getting a lot of Chinese, approximately 24,000 in 2023, 36,000 in 2024. Wait a minute. I didn't know China was in Central America. I didn't know China was in South America. I didn't know China was in Mexico. How the hell are you getting people crossing our border illegally from China at the Mexican border? Oh, that's the tourist industry. Also India, also countries in Africa, countries in Europe. Motherfuckers coming from everywhere. Hey, what's the easiest way to immigrate to America? Oh, just take that flight to Mexico. They'll let you in. Motherfuckers. There's two really good documentaries going on the open border. One is called Line in the Sand, and the other is called Treason. There's a trailer for Line in the Sand. That's by James O'Keefe. And then Treason, I can't remember who it's by, but there's information in this article about those two movies that are pretty good. Biden is threatening people talking about the hurricane. If you don't say the federal government is the, ice cream on your chocolate cake. Here's Biden threatening Americans who criticize the response to hurricanes.
I think those who have been spreading these lies to try to undermine the opposition are going to
by the way,
pay a price for it.
listen to the... Oh, no, they didn't put the question on here. Right after he says this... The first question asked after he said that was something about, something about Donald Trump spreading information. And are you going to hold him accountable? Now, again, here he says, and what's the price? And notice how he used the term opposition. This coming from a man who once upon a time, when his brain was only half-addled, ran for president in the guise of unity when he ended up being one of the most divisive presidents in the history of the United States. But yeah, the first question from a reporter was something about, are you going to hold Donald Trump accountable for the misinformation he's spreading about the hurricane relief effort, blah, 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 blah. Reporters want to put Donald Trump in jail. You motherfuckers, I can't believe it. Also, apparently a hurricane rescuer says that North Carolina National Guard member told him Kamala Harris staged photo op near a supply plane that was never sent. So remember they did a little, they did a supply plane photo op that Kamala Harris went to North Carolina and she spent about 18 minutes on the ground, and they took some photos by a supply plane of a what is it called, C-17? But apparently they never sent the C-17 to send the supplies to anywhere. It just was there for a photo op. And now they told this on a podcast or something. I don't remember what show it was on. Kamala Harris ordered the North Carolina National Guard to load a disaster relief supplies onto a cargo plane just for a photo op with the intention of never sending the supplies to storm victims. So if you want to read about that. In Breitbart, Trump catches Kamala in NBC polls, leads by one in an expanded ballot. Now, what's an expanded ballot? I don't even know what that means. Former President Donald Trump is caught up to Vice President Kamala Harris in a new NBC poll released Sunday. Trump is tied with Harris at 48% and leads 47-46 in an expanded ballot with third-party candidates. So if it was just two of them tied, but when there's some third parties, he still leads Kamala Harris. Hello, lunatic. What's up? AKA, you're a ridiculous moon enthusiast. Oh, the C-17 finally left 2 days later. Okay, well, that's good. The broken down plane excuse came after 2 days. Oh, they made an excuse and then they finally sent it 2 days later. Yeah, why didn't they send it that day? From the Sean Ryan podcast. So anyway, that's the clips on there. So there you go. That's interesting because, Trump's numbers in polls always lag behind reality at the ballot box. That's not good news. And by the way, speaking of that, the Kamala Harris campaign and the media are panicky about that as her momentum stalls. Despite proof over the last several weeks that Kamala Harris's media polling honeymoon is over, everywhere you look, there have been Democrats and media types proclaiming that she has all the momentum down the home stretch while her opponent, Donald Trump, is allegedly struggling to keep up. But the facts are what they are. And even in some media and on the left, they have seemed to come to terms with this as the opportunity window narrows closer to election day. What does that mean? Democrats' nerves are at all-time high. 2 months ago, even a month ago, they were feeling bullish about Vice President Harris' prospects of defeating former President Donald Trump. But now, less than a month ago, until Election Day, they're increasingly worried about a number of issues plaguing the Democrats' nominee, her campaign. On Tuesday, there was grumbling from some Democrats about the Vice President's interview on 60 Minutes. That was a shit show. There's also concern on everything from the static poll numbers in the race to the vice president's messaging, and even her standing with men, not just white men, but black and Hispanic men are not happy with Harris. By the way, I'm not going to play it, but on Saturday Night Live, they actually did another skit opening the show, which actually had had some even balanced laughs at both of the campaign's expenses. I'm shocked and amazed they are making fun of Kamala Harris and even Joe Biden now. I wonder, they've been kid gloves with Biden. They were kid gloves with Obama. Now all of a sudden they're actually balancing it out a little bit. And it was some kind of take on, it wasn't on Jeopardy. It was, it was a take on Jeopardy, I think. Anyway, by the way, black voters make unexpected shift away from Democrats. That's what the fuck is killing them, too. And Obama was out there last week blaming black men or excoriating black men who might even think of voting for Trump. And wait a minute. Now, I'm in that group, right? But the idea that the brothers are still voting, are 80% for Kamala Harris... Leave us the fuck alone. Let us think for ourselves. And you should be happy about that. Just because you ain't getting 95% of us anymore, fuck off. Don't be talking about us like that. I was going to drop my own little N-bomb there. But anyway, But yeah, black men up to 50% of just black voters in general, which is more than any Republicans gotten in a long damn time. Breitbart, Arab Americans are lining up to vote for Trump. Now, I don't understand this. This is in Michigan. I understand that they're mad about Biden and the Israel thing and whatever. But what I don't get is, would Trump be any better as far as, the Israeli-Palestine conflict for them? But they're voting for Trump. Maybe it's because they see some of the laws that Gretchen Whitler has put in about transgender shit, whatever. People keep asking me why Arab American citizens are moving toward voting for Trump. My answer, they are already Trump supporters and enthusiastic ones, but they aren't registered to vote and keep telling us they don't know where or how to vote. Let's see. Oh, this is written by somebody, what's her name? Michelle Moons. Who's that? I don't know who she is. My husband and I started the Conservative American Middle East PAC, or CAMPAC, in October 2024 after a Trump-supporting friend told us how much he was hurting financially, but that he still hasn't registered to vote. Seeing this gap in Republican outreach to register Middle Eastern Americans who couldn't wait for someone else to solve the problem. Since launching in Michigan, we have seen people willing to wait in lines just to get registered and to vote for Trump. Wow! Wow. This is a case in point, is a Christian Iraqi American named Bashar who approached the registration table we had set up outside of a Michigan grocery store last Wednesday, just as we were about to wrap up for the day. Bashar told us that Democrats approached him 3 times to try to register him to vote for Kamala Harris, but he refused to do so until my group spoke with him and registered him as a Republican. He will now be voting happily for Donald Trump. Okay, you got to read this article. I just read the beginning, but I hadn't gotten that far. Arab Americans in Michigan vote for Donald Trump. Apparently, maybe the Palestinian conflict isn't the only thing they think about. You think maybe? Guess what? Arab Americans, they have pocketbooks too. And wallets and pockets and all that shit. You know what I mean. Scott Pressler reveals 2 stats that'll make him think Trump will win in Pennsylvania. What are those 2 stats, Scott? You have to find out. You got to read it and find out. Don't fuck around and find out. Just read the damn article. Let's see. Billionaire investor donor Bill Ackman tears into Biden-Harris and Democrats. Billionaire investor Bill Ackman ripped into the Biden-Harris administration Friday, posting to X, formerly known as Twitter, 33 catalysts for his losing total confidence in the Democratic Party. Ackman formally endorsed Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump hours after the former president survived an assassination attempt. Okay, he's on Trump's side, ripping into Biden-Harris. You can find out why. Legal insurrection, Dems in disarray as backlash against Barack Obama's election to black men grows louder. I'll tell you what, if you'd have been on X, the app formerly known as Twitter, after Obama's had that speech ripping into black men, there's some even Democrat, like Nina Turner, total Democrat, 2-time Obama delegate, ripped into Obama for excoriating black men. Here's Nina Turner. Listen to Nina Turner here.
Why are black men being lectured to? Why are black men being belittled in ways that no other voting group?
She's a 2-time Obama delegate and still voting for Kamala Harris.
Obama. But for him to single out black men is wrong. And some of the black men that
right.
I have talked to have their reasons why they want to vote a different way. And even if some of us may not like that, we have to respect it. So unless President Barack Obama is going to go out and lecture every other group of men from other identity groups, my message for Democrats is don't bring it here to black men who, by and large, don't vote much differently from black women.
But they've been singling out black men. It's black men's fault if Kamala Harris loses. I got a couple words for you. If you say that, good. Also another thing, bet is made. CNN pundit says men believe Dems care more about dudes who want to become women. That's gotta be. Yes, it is. It is. It's our favorite CNN pundit who said that.
It was a rough week. I mean, her faves are down. They're struggling with, the front page of the New York Times this morning, Democrats struggling with African-American voters, particularly African-American men. This gender gap issue is real. It's a real problem, and you see the Democrats reacting to it. And I think what they are now finally in October, the election, coming to realize is that a lot of men think Democrats care more about dudes who want to become women than dudes who just want to be dudes. And
That's 100% true.
Cringy videos is going to change it. The bet is made. Working class men, whether you're black, Hispanic, or white, persistently, consistently do not believe the Democratic Party, and specifically Kamala Harris, are going to do a thing for them. They've been told that they're the problem, and I suspect they're going to rise up on Election Day and tell the elites who told them that you're wrong.
Yeah, there are some cringy videos out there. Like, I think one of them was a joke about all these men, we're going to vote for Harris, to wear masks, and vote for Harris, and it was the men had to all be gay. I'm just saying, and I'm not, there's nothing wrong with you being gay. You want to be gay, you be gay, and you be the gayest gay you can be gay. But it ain't nothing about. Anyway. Oh, by the way, if you want to watch that Saturday night cold open, I have that in the links too. Okay. And then finally, wait, what? Oh, okay. Ariana Grande was the host. But anyway, they did a good opening skit making fun of both of them. And I like it when they make fun of both of them. I'd rather them make fun of both of them than be all one-sided and shit. So you can watch that skit. I can't play it because it's, whatever. And finally, my other YouTube page will be in the links today. That's it, guys. I got to go. Thank you for joining me today on the Morning Night Live. Let me drop these links real quick. And, whoa. Don't do that. I can't put that in there, and I can't put that in there. There's too much filler stuff that doesn't necessarily belong in the daily links. All right, here we go. I'm going to drop the links in the chat, and we're going to get the F out of here. Come on. What's taking it so long? What's taking my computer so long? Oh, it's this. This must be a computer problem. I know I clicked the. Oh, there we go. There we go. It took a minute. All right. There's that. Holy shit, this is slow today. And there we go. All right. Here's today's links. Drop it in the chat. Bam. All right, I got to go. Thanks for joining me today. I'll be back tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. My name is P Dog Knight. And I'm out of here. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Love ya. Hey, this is P Dog Knight, and thank you for watching today on the P Dog Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P Dog Knight, and I'm out of here.